Okay. So today I'd like to talk about several examples from a beginning language course entitled Paris in Virtual Reality, where students learn the French language through immersion and discussion of Parisian life and cultures. Paris and its housing, quarters, history, and current events are all key themes in this course. The first chapter explores what it means to be Parisian. To immediately immerse students in Parisian life, 4 different Parisians from the same quarter documented and shared the stories of their lives with a VR camera over the course of 2 months. The HILT-funded project was entitled La République, and it was created in collaboration with the French company Wanda. The goal was to immediately engage students in Parisian culture during the first week of classes through an immersive day in the life of 4 different characters or people. Each of the lessons during the first week incorporated several phases of instruction, including previewing, immersive VR viewing, focused VR viewing, analysis, and finally, for the first time in fall 2023, interaction with the AI version of the person/character. So to design the chatbot, we reached out to the character, in this case, Lee, and asked him to write extensive written descriptions in French of his own VR video footage, describing the people, settings, situations, and contexts in detail. Lee was also asked to create his own personalized AI chatbot avatar. The text written by Lee was then used as the training data to prompt Lee's AI character. Careful prompts and guidelines were also designed to keep the chatbot on task and in a level of French that was simplified and understandable by non-native beginning language learners. You can see things like why you are here, how you should interact with your visitors, and other important pieces of information and details that might be important for this particular chatbot. I'm going to introduce you to Lee. Well, this is the English version of Lee. So you can kind of understand. We asked him if he would mind speaking in English for us here, so you can get a feel.
We can continue in English. How can I assist you today?
How's your family?
Sure. In my family, there's my mom, Anne, and my dad, Nicholas. My mom works as an exhibition curator at the Museum of Modern Art in Paris. She's very busy, but always helps me with my homework. My dad works in a technology company. I also have an older brother, Kim, who loves playing tennis. We're a close-knit family and enjoy spending time together. Do you have any siblings in your family?
I don't, but I would love to hear more about you. Do you like school?
Yes, I do enjoy school. I like learning new things and spending time with my friends. My favorite subject in school is history and geography. I find it fascinating to learn about different cultures and places. How about you? Do you enjoy school?
I also love learning about different cultures and places. Can you tell me more about the books that you're reading at school?
Certainly, in school we study a variety of books that cover different topics and genres. Some of the books we have read include Le Monstre aux limites de l'humain, The Monster at the Limits of the Human, Récits d'aventure, Adventure Stories, Récits de création, Création Stories, Création poétique, Poetic Creation, and Résister au plus fort, Ruse, Mensonge et Masque, Resisting the Strongest, Tricks, Lies and Masks. These books explore themes such as mythology, adventure, and the power of storytelling. They are quite interesting and help us develop our reading and comprehension skills.
So students in the class had a large group discussion with Lee, and then they were given the link so that they could have a personalized one-on-one conversation with Lee for homework. And they could download the transcription and send it to the instructor. So in addition to that project, I also collaborated with Wanda and Rêve Studio for an additional project in spring 2023. For this project, I experimented with AI for the final writing assignment in this course. In addition to immersion in cultural content, students in the course participate in a global simulation where they create fictional French-speaking characters who live virtually in the same building in Paris and create a collective storyline by writing memoirs from their characters' perspective. So during the unit on fine arts in Paris, the students do a virtual tour of surrealist works at the Centre Pompidou and learn language to help describe and analyze works of art in French, in addition to careful fine-tuning of the subjunctive. They create their own surrealist works and describe and discuss them with their Parisian conversation partner, and then their art is on view in the Surrealist Art Gallery in the Harvard Art Museums through augmented reality, where they discuss and analyze its relationship to the existing professional works in the space in French. Then the students learned that one of the characters was murdered in a surrealist murder scene in the Centre Pompidou Museum. And the students need to write a memoir documenting who they believe committed the crime, expressing their doubts, suspicions, and certainties, again, really targeting the subjunctive. Students are told that while many of the neighbors were looking at masterpieces such as Les Instruments de Musique by Georges Braque or Fontaine by Marcel Duchamp, the victim was found in the dumpster behind the museum, on one foot wearing a red high-heeled shoe and on the other a sneaker. And in their hand there was a piece of paper with the words Querelle des Universaux, the name of a Magritte painting in the museum, a true surrealist crime. In advance of the debate and interrogation of the guilty suspects, students created their own personalized 3D animated avatars to represent their fictional character and copied and pasted their compositions and written work from in-class activities, including their self-portraits and alibis, in a prompt for their AI character. The avatars were then added to a pre-designed virtual gallery space in a fabricated Centre Pompidou museum, including walls adorned with multiple adaptations of Magritte's surrealist works and window views of Paris, all created with AI tools. For the second class session, all students were gathered in the visualization lab here at Harvard, and the instructor launched the immersive experience, and students were able to see their own character and their own written work come to life. Students asked their own characters a personalized question in French and waited to see how their character might respond. So the interrogation of the guilty suspects began at the next class session. By clicking on a character and hitting the microphone icon, students' questions were registered, and the answer was transcribed automatically by a speech AI model and communicated to ChatGPT and translated to French, which generated an answer based on students' written prompts for their characters. So let's look at an example of the unexpected responses from the guilty suspect interrogation. This is my colleague from Wanda who recorded this.
Hello, my name is Louise de Fontenay. I am ready for the interrogation. How can I assist you?
So, Anthony thinks that you are the murderer. Seems to be not very happy about it.
What? Outrageous. I had nothing to do with Denise's murder. What makes Anthony think that I am the murderer?
He said he found something in your trash can.
I see. I can assure you that I have nothing to hide. What did he find in my trash can?
A bloody knife.
A bloody knife? That's impossible. I haven't used a knife in weeks, let alone a bloody one. Are you sure Anthony found it in my trash can?
Yes, anyway, thank you so much for your help. It was very nice.
Wait, that's it? You can't just accuse me of murder and then leave without giving me a chance to defend myself. I demand to speak with the police and have a lawyer present during any further questioning.
So after multiple question and answers with the suspects, the students then vote to choose the guilty party after they hear the truth and following before they hear the truth from the very point of view of the victim's ghost. Now, the victim was also a student who wrote the real story of what actually happened. And the victim's ghost magically comes to life at the end of the experience.
Book the medium that is actually named Verlaine Roussel in this case, who has the power to invoke the ghost of the victim, in this case, Denise Aubert. And here she will reveal who is her murderer.
My name is Denise de Aubert, and I was murdered by Elodie, the sister of my deceased fiancé, who believed that my family was responsible for his death.
Okay, and then it goes on and on. I didn't include all the details, and then the students can interrogate the ghost as well. So coming soon with the support from the Office of Undergraduate Education, I'm going to be working on another project, which is the Parisian character that the students design and write about for this course will become their phased writing tutor and thought partner. It will incorporate interactive brainstorming, so oral interaction, conversation with their character to come up with ideas for their writing assignment, personalized curated vocabulary support, grammar, inquiry and explanations, targeted error correction, information on time on task, so how much time was spent in the application, and stylistic recommendations. So just to kind of conclude some of the that's okay. Some of the challenges and the rewards. So in terms of challenges, the AI did not always understand student questions, due sometimes to mispronunciation, but sometimes due to accent, despite students' efforts to hone their pronunciation and communicate their questions. It was trained on native French speakers as opposed to non-native French speakers. I think these models will improve, but for right now, those were some of our challenges. But students adapted to these misunderstandings, but sometimes the flow and design of the lesson was impeded, as the instructor had to repeat the question. But in terms of rewards, when asked about their classroom experience at the end of the 2 sessions in spring 2023, students were overwhelmingly positive, with 100% of them stating it was a highly engaging experiment as they listened to their characters' unexpected answers and their writing come to life. And I think the project incorporated targeted areas such as interaction, grammatical accuracy, comprehension of written and audio texts, and writing in a simulated yet culturally grounded context. So thank you.